On a beautiful spring day in May of 2008, I headed out the door with my Captain Hook-loving daughter, and I remember being so proud because I had taken the time to prepare snacks for church, some animal crackers, and I sliced up a big red apple. And we made it to church, and we sat in our pew, and she was being so restless. We had to take her energetic bundle out to the foyer. It was Tantrum of 2008. You may have read about it in the history books. And when we realized she wasn't going to settle down, we decided to leave a little early. I strapped Lucy in her car seat, and then I twisted around, and I handed her a Tupperware of the thinly sliced apples. And just as I turned the key in the ignition, I could hear her choking. Quick as lightning, I exited the car, I opened her door, I unbuckled her, and I yelled for my husband, who was across the parking lot. He raced toward us, and as he began administering the Heimlich maneuver, he assured me that everything would be fine. How could it not be? And that's when her big blueberry eyes locked with mine, and a look of panic and confusion washed over her face. And luckily, the fire station is right next door to our church building in Park City, and I saw my husband race with Lucy in his arms, and I saw her go limp. And when he arrived, the door was locked. And I began screaming, and people flooded out from the church building. Medical professionals, doctors, nurses, the head of Summit County Search and Rescue. Someone called 911, and I laid on the cement, losing all the feeling in my limbs. And I went into shock. The paramedics did eventually arrive. The life flight helicopter landed, and they whisked my daughter away. And it was as if Daniel, who I trusted, who had been flying me across the stage, just cut that rope. And I plummeted to the stage floor in a heap of utter despair. And just when I thought I couldn't fall any further, I held my little Tinkerbell in my arms 4 days later in the hospital. And I laid in the bed with her, and my husband wheeled us down the hallway to the yellow line on the floor that I wasn't allowed to cross. And I handed my daughter over so they could harvest her organs. Her liver went to a 6-month-old baby girl, and her kidneys went to a 35-year-old father of 4. And I am intrinsically connected to these other humans in a very tangible way. And the question I get asked more than any other is, how did you survive this? First of all, it has not been pretty. And when asked to put our pain and grief into words, the only word I can think of is unspeakable. But because I had the courage to speak my unspeakable, I experienced connections deeper than I've ever known. I felt seen, I felt heard, and it gave others permission to do the same and to speak their unspeakable to me. Pain is a powerful connector. And my connection with others is truly what saved my life when my daughter lost hers. And now, because I have shared my unspeakable with you, we are all connected, and it is an honor. Another way to create connection involves your talents and gifts. I want you to picture a woman with hair about my length, but her hair is blonder, if you can imagine that, and bigger. Okay, now just a little bit bigger. And then add a bump it and some, okay, do you have it? Do you picture it? Okay, this woman's name is Jenny, and Jenny is one of 8 children, and 5 of the 8 children were born with a very rare genetic disorder called Wolfram syndrome. And as the oldest child, Jenny watched as her parents cared for and buried 5 children. When my little Lucy was in the hospital for those 4 sacred and gut-wrenching days, Jenny showed up on day 3 with a beautiful white burial dress that she had sewn herself. It was the perfect size. She didn't ask if we wanted her to make it. We weren't even sure at that point what the outcome would be. But Jenny knew. She had done this 5 times. She knew exactly what to do, from the burial dress to the balloons to the flowers, the luncheon. She knew exactly what to do. One of my favorite quotes from Neal A. Maxwell: "Recall the Star of Bethlehem. It was in its exact, precise orbit long before it shone. We are likewise placed in human orbits to illuminate." Jenny was placed in a precise orbit to illuminate me in my darkness of despair. She was in my life at the exact time I needed her. And all of the gifts that Jenny had acquired throughout her life, her sewing, her empathy, there's nothing this woman can't do. She built her own house. They were all given as gifts to me. And we are now intrinsically connected. I want you to think about your gifts and how you can use them to be a gift to others. Not only did Jenny sew that burial dress for our Lucy, she saved part of the fabric, just in case I might have another little girl someday, so that she could sew a blessing dress for her. And as for her hair, I figured out why she has to do it so big and so blonde. It's because she has to hide her halo. Use your gifts to be a gift. We all have incredible stories and experiences that will forge connections.